Welcome back to the Movie Draft House. I'm your host, Mark, joined by co-host Jeff.
What up, Mark? How you doing today?
You know, it's another excellent day here in the House of Draft. How you doing?
Pretty good. I'm a little worried about your Discord account because someone on there messaged me saying I'm very fond of the 90s as far as movies go.
Listen.
Pretty certain that's not you.
No, I am a big fan of 90s films. 80s films, I hate.
Gonna call bullshit.
No, all right. So, okay, tell me why. Tell me why you call bullshit on my
our back catalog.
We'll
find plenty of 90s movies that you just fucking hate.
I liked Last Action Hero. What other movies? 90s movies. Well, I mean, we've watched a lot of...
That's true. The ones I'm thinking of are ones you all like. Basic Instinct.
Yeah.
Disclosure.
I'm telling you. Like, I'm a big fan of the 90s action films. And that's... Before we get... All right.
I'm a big fan of the 90s action films.
I know.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Anyways, Jeff, tell them how we got here.
No.
Explain what the theme is and tell them how. All right, I'll do it.
I'm injured. I can't do it.
I got you. All right, so this whole year we're reviewing films that have 1 degree of separation from the previous week's films. So we're gonna run it down. So
you're gonna run it down. I ain't fucking doing it. I'm sick of it.
So if
I know this is all my idea, but
if you're
sometimes I have bad ideas.
If you're listening,
that's okay.
You can go ahead and skip forward probably about 3 minutes.
Yep, that's going to be some bullshit.
We'll be here. But we ended 2024 watching A Simple Favor, which starred Anna Kendrick, who was also in Life After Beth, which we started 2025 with. Life After Beth, which also starred Paul Reiser, who was in the film Whiplash with Miles Teller. Miles Teller was also in Top Gun Maverick, which was written by David Craig, who also wrote Gladiator II, which starred Pedro Pascal, who was also in the film Drive Away Dolls as the penis collector.
Yep, that's the important part.
And Drive Away Dolls also starred Margaret Qualley, who was also in the film The Substance, which also starred Demi Moore, who was in the film Indecent Proposal, which had brief appearance by, what's the guy with 3? Billy Bob Thornton.
Yep, that's where I get hung up sometimes.
Who was also in the film Armageddon, which starred 2 actors, Steve Buscemi and Peter Stormare. Yeah, Stormare. Who were also in the film Fargo, which starred Frances McDormand, who was also in the film 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, which starred Sam Rockwell, who was also in the film 7 Psychopaths, which starred hold on, Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
Who was also he was also in the film Saving Mr. Banks, which starred Tom Hanks, who was also in the film Dragnet, which starred Christopher Plummer, who was also in the film Inside Man, which starred Denzel Washington, who was also in the film Training Day, which was written by David Ayers, who directed and wrote the film Fury, which starred Shia LaBeouf, who was also in the film Disturbia, which had a brief appearance by the actor Matt Craven.
Yep, sure did.
Who was also in the film Public Enemies, which starred...
No.
Well, Public Enemies was written...
No, it did star. You're right.
Yeah, okay. Oh, God. Public Enemies starred... Fuck.
Who's the bad guy in this movie?
Oh, Stephen Dorff. Yes.
Yep.
Which brings us to this week's film. God, that was harder than I thought it was going to be.
I don't want to do it anymore. Maybe we do the last 5. You know, we don't have to do them all. You know.
Which brings us to this week's film, which you chose, the film Blade. From
classic
1998. It's rated R. Runs for exactly 2 hours. So
Yeah,
Jeff,
they nailed it.
It stars Wesley Snipes, Stephen Dorff, Chris Christopherson. So Jeff, why this movie?
I haven't seen it probably since I saw it in the theaters back in '98. I never watched the sequels, but there's a new Blade movie on the horizon.
Is there?
And yeah, with Masaraha Ali. I'm sure I said his name wrong.
Marsala, yeah. That film's probably not happening, by the way.
Why?
Just look it up. I don't know the entire backstory, but last I heard, it probably was not happening.
That's bullshit.
But wait, you haven't seen Blade 2 and Blade 3?
No.
Really?
And Blade 3 has a professional wrestler in it. Still haven't bothered.
Blade 3 is the best one because it's got Ryan Reynolds
Is
in
it
it.
really?
No, it's not.
Okay. Is Ryan Reynolds playing Deadpool?
I mean, isn't Ryan Reynolds playing Deadpool in every film he does?
Okay, that's a fair point. But yeah, I remember seeing this in theaters. I remember a few things. I remember the bloodbath at the beginning, and then I remember that he needed a serum to stop from eating people,
Yeah.
and that's about it. Like I
Yeah.
didn't remember fucking anything else.
Yeah, I haven't seen this film probably since either it came out or right after it went to, I think probably VHS was still a thing then, but I had no recollection about any of this movie. None. Like, I mean, maybe Chris Christopherson playing the kind of the what's he call it, Alfred to Batman, type guy. But this was completely, it was almost like watching a brand new movie for me.
Yeah, like I said, I remember the beginning. I didn't remember much else. I didn't really remember Whistler until it came up. Then I was like, oh yeah, this is ringing a bell. And then as I was watching it, scenes started kind of clicking, and be like, okay, all right, I remember this. But very little else. So it was a good refresher for me. I'm glad I rewatched it.
Yeah. So one thing, and so that leads us into the conversation of, I texted you while I was watching it saying, man, I love 90s films. Is because this is, even though it was late 90s, it's very 90s action to me.
Full.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, just the abundance of, it's not even, it is violent. It's a violent movie, but
I'm so glad this is rated R.
Yeah.
And it made me, while I was watching, I was thinking about the new one that you says is probably not happening, and I'm looking, and you're probably right.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it has to be rated R. Now that they've done Deadpool and Wolverine is rated R, make Blade rated R. But
yeah. It just, the tone of the film, it never gets, we learn a little bit about Blade's backstory, just a tiny bit. I mean, we know he was born with whatever affliction he's got, and the affliction is vampirism, I guess. But
he's like 50-50.
Right, but the film never gets bogged down into Blade. Who is Blade and why is he like this? It's this very surface level plot, and the film just lets Wesley Snipes be a badass. And he's never not a badass throughout this entire film. And that's what I love about it. I love that he is the same person and same character all the way throughout the movie. And there's no, Blade loses his powers, or, Blade has to rely on somebody else to save him. No, it's just well, yeah, yeah, sure.
Trapped in that torture machine.
Yeah, but he's not, the character doesn't suffer because of it, right? And so many superhero movies, the main character has to figure out a way to do to save somebody or the planet or whoever, in a different way than what they've known. And here I feel like, Blade is just written the same way throughout the entire film. And Wesley Snipes is so good. Like, in the 90s, Wesley Snipes was the man.
Demolition Man. Look at the back catalog. That fucking movie slays. Maybe was that one that you didn't like as much? I can't remember. I'll have to go back and listen because I feel like you boo-hooed that one a bit. And that's kind of why I'm like, and that's and listen, I love Blade.
No, I liked Wesley Snipes in Demolition Man.
Demolition Man is fucking 10 out of 10.
No, right. And so throughout the 90s, Wesley Snipes was kind of the action go-to. But he was also more like real, like, I don't know what it's called, surface level, but it's just kind of reality, more tied into reality. Like we were talking before the podcast, the film Money Train, where him and Woody Harrelson are in it, but he's magnetic in pretty much everything that he does. And I think the Blade trilogy of films was probably his last, hoorah in Hollywood. And I'm actually surprised. No, maybe I'm not, but and I didn't look at how much money this film grossed or
it must have made money because they did 2 sequels.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
So
like,
it made money. I can look that up real quick though.
But he's throughout this entire film. He is just. I mean, he's whooping ass. He's cutting people in half. He's getting shot, and then he's getting given the little quips, and it's just like, this is what a 90s action film is. It's the main character, the main actor getting like 85% of the screen time. Nothing else matters. I cared shit about Steven Dorff in this film. I thought he was kind of ridiculous.
I'll get into him, but yeah.
But
he does play the quintessential pretty boy douchebag vampire.
Yeah,
that's
but
what he's cast to do, and he does it.
Sure, but like I didn't care at all about him. I mean, I knew like he showed nothing. I wanted to
see him get punched in the face.
Yeah, but he showed nothing to like make me think that he would be able to defeat Blade or anything like that. And so throughout, maybe that's on purpose. Maybe it was written. David S. Goyer wrote this film, and David S. Goyer has written a lot of films and a lot of superhero movies. He's the writer of Man of Steel and the Batman Begins trilogy and all this other stuff. So
that's the big one.
So I think. And I might be misremembering, but I read something a while back about David S. Goyer and how big of a comic book fan he is. And so I have to believe that David S. Goyer is a fan of Blade or has read the Blade series of comic books, front, back, and up and down. And so being able to cast somebody like Wesley Snipes, who, and like I've read a handful of Blade comics early on, like teenage years. But Wesley Snipes looks like Blade. He looks like the comic book character Blade. And so, like, I have to feel like David S. Goyer took that and was like, man, I'm going to write this movie like it's a comic book. And it very much plays out like a comic book. Like, the action's over the top, but it's like also not like for the character. Because I know Blade often in the comic books. Huh?
Because I'll point out the part where I was like, fuck yeah, because of the action being over the top. Was at the very end. He stuck that guy with that serum that blows him up. Yeah. And he has the one last vial, and instead of just throwing it like he does the others, he tosses it in the air and then spin kicks it. Yeah. And it goes into him and kill. It's fucking awesome.
Well, that's a 90s.
So good.
That's a 90s action
I would have been
thing.
disappointed had he done anything else because it's so unnecessary, but it's so cool.
Right, right.
That's what you want.
And Wesley Snipes is, he's on record, I think, multiple times throughout his career as being trained in martial arts. Like, I mean, there's a handful of films where he is balls to the wall, whooping ass, with his feet, hands and feet. And so he looks the part. He portrays it well. He's stoic, but he's kind of like, there's a couple lines throughout the film where he's funny, and I enjoyed the film for what it was. And like, I'm kind of wanting to go watch Blade 2 and Blade 3 because I haven't seen them in so long, and I don't even remember Blade 2. But like, I also don't want to, is because they're probably not as good as this one to me, and I don't want to be like, this film sucks.
Money
well,
for
sure,
what it's worth. So all of they were, I would call them marginal successes. They over doubled the budget that they put in, so I would say obviously they made money. But after the third one, it still made it fair bit. The second one made the most money, but it also had a bigger budget. So,
well,
Blade
2 was directed by Guillermo del Toro. Okay.
Oh, is it really?
Yes.
Oh, it's probably the best one yet.
I mean, that makes me kind of want to really go watch it, but also like,
nah, come on, let's do it. We ain't doing shit today.
I gotta go to the grocery store.
Yeah, that's 20 minutes. Come on, you got time to watch Blade 2.
No, it's so all right. What are your thoughts on this?
I love Wesley Snipes' Blade. I would consider, of the two of us, I'm the action 90s aficionado.
Correct.
Couple things missing for me. I think that Blade being sort of stoic, he does once in a while have some one-liners, but they're not crazy good. And the villain, I think, is charismatic, but he's just annoying, and he's like that shitty, pretty vampire trope. Like, I hate. I really don't like vampire movies, to be honest.
Yeah,
like,
I don't either.
Because they all break down to this sort of sexy vampire thing, and anytime a vampire shows its fangs, I cringe a little, because I'm like, this is so stupid. Like, I don't know. Like, just vampires in general, I'm not super high on, which is probably why I never watched the following Blade films.
Yeah.
That being said, he does a lot of martial arts, which I'm here for. There's a lot of over-the-top stuff. Some of the graphical effects have not aged well.
No, they're terrible.
But there's some really good stuff here. I really love the opening with the bloodbath. Like, the lead-in, the introduction to the world is really well done, because he's walking in with this pretty woman, and everyone's dancing, and then the blood starts dripping on him, and he's not sure what's going on, but everyone around him, their hands raise, and it's just kind of eerie, and then the bloodbath starts. I thought that was really cool. I do like this. I don't know that it's one of my favorites as far as like these sort of action flick things. Like, if I'm going to throw on a Wesley Snipes one, probably Passenger 57, definitely Demolition Man. But I still think Wesley Snipes owns the character in the same way that, we look at other comic book characters, like Patrick Stewart owns Professor X. Hugh Jackman owns Wolverine, and I think Wesley Snipes owns Blade. Like, anyone, if they ever do make the one with Mahershala Ali, he's going to be in the shadow of Blade. The other thing that I noticed is this movie is heavily inspired by The Matrix in its action sequences. Like, you can tell this is post-Matrix.
Yeah.
There's bullet time. There's the slow sort of flippy shit. There's a lot, like there's the point where he jumps through that window to the other building, and it's like, right, you can look at it and compare it to the scene where Trinity does that in The Matrix. So like I think this is a sort of a victim of everyone trying to be the next Matrix.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, that's to be expected from an action film post Matrix, right?
Yeah.
You try to capitalize on what's hot at the moment.
Let me make sure that this came out after The Matrix, because
I think Matrix was 98 or 97.
Ooh, no, I'm wrong. This predates The Matrix, 99.
Really?
I'm wrong completely. I'm talking out of my ass. Fuck, shit.
Well, I mean,
this actually inspired The Matrix. Like The Matrix watches was like, I got an idea.
Really, The Matrix was 99.
Wachowskis. Yeah, I thought it was much earlier.
Yeah, I did too. I thought it was like 96. 96, 97. Wow, that's crazy.
I'm wrong. Wow.
Wrong.
There's a first for everything.
Yeah, I guess so.
So I take back what I said about that. This movie innovates with its action and inspires future films such as 1999's The Matrix.
Well, that's interesting. That's interesting because we, as a society, like a film watching society, we identify, and most, I think, cinephiles, people that love film, would say
I
that
thought it was people who had sex with their DVDs, but
could also be cinephiles. I think people would tell you that The Matrix is an iconic film.
It changed cinema,
right? Because of the action that was in it, the sequences, and I don't necessarily know why it was that way for The Matrix and maybe not for Blade here. Because Blade does a lot of the same things that
The Matrix had a lot of philosophical shit that people with their heads up their asses could really get behind. So
it was also
you can
more
tell
of a
I'm not a Matrix fan.
Well, it was more of a commercial success too. I don't know, like Wesley Snipes and Keanu Reeves in the 90s were probably 1A, 1B. As far as, actors in Hollywood go.
Let's talk out our ass some more. Let's continue.
You don't think so?
1A, 1B is action stars in the 90s?
Yeah.
There's a little bit of an Arnold Schwarzenegger that would disagree with you.
No, I'm saying like if we're comparing Wesley Snipes and Keanu Reeves in the 90s. Was
Keanu an action star at this point?
I think so. I think he had done Speed and probably Speed 2, maybe.
Yeah, Point Break. Yeah, okay.
So like if we're comparing Keanu and Wesley Snipes here, I would say they're probably neither one of them are below or above the other because they're both pretty big action stars in Hollywood in 1998, 1999. And so, and maybe Keanu is just maybe more of a commercial success actor at this point than Wesley Snipes was. I don't know.
Like if I were putting myself back in those days, I would consider Snipes to be the bigger action star, personally.
Okay.
His last name is Snipes.
Yeah.
I mean,
but he also, I have to go back and look at his filmography, but I remember him playing a handful of bad guys. Back in the day.
Fucking Demolition Man, which is incredible.
Yeah,
he was in U.S. Marshals, which is
really
he
was,
good.
but he was the main.
What are you talking about? Like he's Tu Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar, that action movie.
So maybe not. Maybe just the films he were.
57, Boiling Point.
Yeah, maybe the films. Hold on. All right, so you go to Keanu Reeves and you look at his filmography from the 90s and it's probably somewhat similar to hold on, let's go back. All right, so in the 90s and he really didn't get until Speed 1994. He wasn't in much like that. I would say people had Bill and Ted, but Point Break. Okay, so Bill and Ted and Point Break were probably his biggest ones until the mid '90s. And
Snipes
Speed,
way more. Boiling Point. I need to watch that again. Boiling Point was Wesley Snipes and Dennis Hopper.
Yeah, I mean, The Devil's Advocate.
That's not an action movie though.
Chain Reaction. That's an action film.
Is it? Have you actually seen it?
I have seen Chain Reaction. It's been a long time, but
okay.
Have you seen Chain
90s,
Reaction?
So I forget. No,
bro. Like, don't question my '90s love.
Okay. We're gonna do a '90s year, a year where we only watch movies from the '90s. I would be in heaven. And you love the '90s anyway, so you shouldn't have any objection, right?
If you're watching on the YouTube, you're seeing me put a gun to my head right now.
See, this man loves the '90s, and now he'd rather kill himself than watch '90s movies.
There's so many. I mean, we probably could. We could absolutely do it. But I don't want to. Anyways, what? So Chris Christopherson here as Whistler. He's pretty good. He's not in the film a ton. And from looking at the second and third film cast list, he comes back to life. Spoiler alert. But
I don't understand. I haven't seen those, obviously, but
I mean, I don't know.
Although we never do see him kill himself, so maybe he is not dead. Maybe he instead goes to the hospital, or he shoots his injuries so that his injuries die, and he's back to life. I think that's what happens.
Maybe he was just trying to get rid of Wesley Snipes. I don't know. He's like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, he's like, I'm sick of this dude. I'm going to Tupac myself and go live on an island somewhere.
Whistler, Tupac, and Aaliyah are all on an island together. So one person, the one person I did not like in this film, other than real Steven Dorff, I just didn't really care for, is Naboosh, right?
Okay, Naboosh.
Nabushi?
Oh, the mom? Oh,
no. Okay. Yeah. Wait.
Oh no. Okay, that's not the mom. That's the second character.
Yes, that is the main.
Yeah,
I just
pretty vanilla.
I was like,
much there.
Yeah, I'm like, why is she? Honestly, why was she in the movie? Like, I really did not care for it. And I really didn't think it served really any type of purpose other than to be kind of Blade's love interest a little bit.
Well, and I don't even think I didn't get any love interest vibes, but I do think that she is there to be the audience's eyes.
Okay. Yeah.
That's would be my.
Yeah, I mean that makes that makes more sense. But we spend almost the entire movie with Blade. Why can't I be?
Because we're not vampire hybrids. We're humans, like she is. That's why she is the human eyes.
Sure. No, I just like.
That's my guess.
But also, like, I did not enjoy the overarching villain plot of the secret board of vampires. And like, I don't know, like they're all sitting at a table every time we see them.
Exactly what they were. Boring.
But I just like that part of the film. Like, I was like, why couldn't we just have like Raid Redemption style or Dread style Blade has to escape from a high-rise building?
You're talking about kick-ass movies.
Right. So, like, to me, the plot in this movie is just there. It's not really a big deal. Who cares, really? The movie, to me, was good when Blade is whooping ass.
Yep.
And like one part of the movie
likes watching Spider-Man not be Spider-Man. And so any of the time that, Blade is sitting around sweating because he hasn't had his infusion. It's like, come on, man.
Although I will say Tom Holland is very likable, and I don't mind Tom Holland as Peter Parker in the Spider-Man films.
Okay.
Just so you know. I mean, Wesley Snipes is, I mean, I'm sure, like, if the character of Blade was written to be likable in the moments that he's not being Blade or, killing vampires, I probably would have liked him here too, and I did. I would probably like those scenes as well. One scene in this film where Steven Dorff holds the little Asian girl hostage.
Yeah.
Like in the park, and people are just walking by, and I'm like,
they don't give a shit. They're just walking by, and then Blade tries to call his bluff and tries to shoot Steven Dorff,
and nobody gives a fuck.
Nobody cares, and he throws the little girl in the traffic, and nobody cares. Blade barely cares, right? Instead of going to save the girl, he opens fire in public to try to shoot Steven Dorff, and then he decides to go save the little girl.
Right.
Insane.
It was such a weird scene because like it's like I don't Blade,
and then the sunblock thing. That wouldn't work. I don't like sunblock. Is the whole thing with vampires and the sun. I don't feel like sunblock is that. Like, they are the only ones who have thought of this, right? They're the only vampires to be like, shit, our biggest weakness, we'll just go get sunblock and everything's fine. Why is that not common practice?
Well, and I like that
Such a cop-out.
Blade tells Steven Dorff, hey, your mascara or your makeup, one of the two is running.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, ha.
And then we get to see the guy get fried by the sun, and I'm like, no. What about your eyes? Like, wouldn't it make your eyes implode? And, did you get it in your hair to get every ounce of your scalp done in your head? No. You would still die. Like, it's such a stupid trope. I think the big thing is I just don't like vampire movies.
I agree. Large in part, I agree with you. I am not a vampire film fan. I don't.
Anytime
I think
they go and their teeth come out, it's like, what the fuck is this? Is it a cat?
Wait, how do you control that?
That's what and then
like you just bare your gums and
vampires are not cool, but they think they're cool. They're like that guy.
Well,
like basically.
Yeah, once upon a time, somebody said vampires are cool. And
what's the coolest vampire? It's Blade.
Yeah,
He's
probably
not even a vampire.
Right. I mean, it's probably Blade. Could also be Tom Cruise. I don't know.
Now that's a good vampire movie. We should have watched that.
Yeah, I just there's this film is watchable and likable to me because of Wesley Snipes and the action that is in it.
Yes.
I did not enjoy the plot. I did not enjoy a lot of the supporting characters. I did not care at all about why they were doing what they were doing. I just wanted to see Blade whoop some ass. And
we gotta say, I did like Quinn, the character played by Donald Logue, who's a guy I've seen in a bunch of things, and he's always really good in whatever he's doing.
Yeah.
But I like this running gag of him just losing his hands constantly and them having to regrow, Thought that was pretty good. And he's just kind of the reason I liked him is because all these other vampires are sexy and cool, and oh, look at my hair, it's kind of coiffed in front of my face like I'm Justin Bieber. But he's not. He's just this douchey bum hangs around and sucks at his job. So I really liked him. He was funny.
Well, I could have done with a scene or multiple scenes of him having baby hands.
Oh man, baby hands would be great.
I don't know. I mean,
now, I got one more thing we got to talk about.
Okay.
The whole mom subplot. So the big twist in this, which I did not remember at all, was that Blade's mom is still alive and she's a vampire. And Blade's the reason Blade is a half vampire is because Stephen Dorff's character was the one that attacked Blade's mom when she was about to give birth.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that twist. What I'm not fine with is like how sensual his mom gets with Blade.
Yeah.
Like it's like
That's
she's
weird.
up in his face, rubbing her nose on him and like inches away from kissing him and not in a motherly way. It was gross. Like who did this?
Yeah.
Who put this in here? Like,
Listen,
ugh.
incest in the 90s, man. It was all right.
Oh, it was?
In the 90s.
Of this. I'm not even gonna comment.
Anyways, yeah. The ending was meh to this film. The ending with the CG kind of was like, oh.
Well, when he gets cut in half and then he comes back together.
Yeah. I
That
mean,
was so bad it's good to me. Like I was okay with that.
it's
Most
rough.
of the bad effects I was okay with. But and like I said, it all caps with the spin kick to the vial that
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of.
Yeah.
So
What? Yeah, I mean the ending action is fine, is good, and in my opinion, it's just the way that it ended with the CG and kind of just like that type of thing. I was like, oh, because it doesn't age well at all.
Yeah.
And so, like, I wish maybe they had like the guy that directed this and the producers and editing and all that had maybe had a little forethought and been like, hey, is this going to look good 20 years from now? Probably not. And maybe had done things a little different, but I understand why they did it. They, CG is still relatively new in the 90s, and they're probably just like, oh yeah, put some computer shit in there. And but yeah, no.
Okay.
Do you
computer shit in there?
do you recommend this one?
No, I don't think it's quite as good as like some other stuff. Like I point at other action films. Again, Demolition Man. If we look in our back catalog, Hard Target, starring Van Damme
Yeah.
and Eric Hendrickson, that movie kicks ass. Like that's a great villain. So there's a lot you can do a lot better than Blade, but it's still kind of fun. But it wouldn't get my recommendation.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I'm not gonna recommend it, but I still enjoyed it for the action. Like, it made me want to go watch other '90s action films.
Yeah, lots of good hand-to-hand combat, which
yeah.
I appreciate.
Well, that was that was the thing for these types of films, especially in this time period. Is that was martial arts films incorporated into these. I mean, Blade, he has guns, but he doesn't. He has guns. He's got a fucking katana. But he also
Awesome.
will whip your ass with just his hands and feet. And so it's like I loved it because
one of my favorite sequences is when his sword is stuck in the wall.
Yeah.
And he has to go get it, so he has to hand fight a bunch of guys.
Right.
And then he gets it, and he does that pose where he kind of sling.
Yeah.
They talk about the superhero, pose where they jump and hit the ground. He does that in this.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to love. There's a lot to love.
And there, it's no surprise really to me that this film spun 2 sequels, and had moderate to good success. So I'm not going to recommend it, but it's also like an original comic book film, and probably one of the first.
In an era where being a comic book movie did not guarantee
Correct.
it was good or successful.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to recommend it, but it's not the worst thing I've ever watched or will ever watch again. So,
Yeah, because you've got to pick this week, so I'm sure you're going to set us up for some fucking horse shit.
so with that in mind,
I mean, I'm confident in you.
thank you. So I looked at different actors that were in this film. I looked at the director, but in hopes to give you more to choose from. And I know you said just pick good movies.
You don't.
I know.
Fine. I can find something.
I know you can. But I went with writer David S. Goyer.
Okay, that's not a surprise.
Right. He's probably the most commercially successful person associated with Blade. So I looked at David S. Goyer in his films, and he directed Blade Trinity. He wrote it and directed it. But
really?
I'm not picking that film.
You don't want to do that? You don't want to skip the second one and go right to the third?
No. So I picked a film from 2013. It's rated PG-13. Yeah, I do. It's rated PG-13. Runs for 2 hours and 23 minutes. So a little on the longer side. But it's a Zack Snyder film.
Oh, God.
We are going to watch Man of Steel, another comic book film. It's a Superman film starring Henry Cavill, Amy Adams, Michael Shannon. Who else? Russell Crowe. Who else? Kevin Costner, Lawrence Fishburne. Like, listen, you got a lot to choose from here.
I don't need a lot to choose from.
But hey, this film was also written by David S. Goyer and Christopher Nolan. So,
I could pick a Christopher Nolan movie, which that's not going to happen.
I mean, okay.
Wait, you want me to pick Batman? Actually, Batman Begins is the shit. But
so, anyways, we're gonna watch Man of Steel.
I'm not that disappointed.
Have you ever
liked this movie?
Okay, good. You've seen it?
Yeah.
Well, how long?
There are a lot of people who hate it, but I'm like, I thought it was pretty good. And I'm not a Zack Snyder fan, so
I haven't seen it since it came out in theaters. I went and saw it in theaters, but I remember the like people hating it for kind of one scene, and I kind of want to talk about the one scene in this film, and I'm interested because this is not early Zack Snyder film, but this is a Zack Snyder film where
like he's already done 300 at this point. So
yeah, but he's not commercially hated in 2013.
Yeah.
I think the people started hating him after
he's got a
Man of
weird
Steel.
thing though. It's like some people hate him, and then they put Joss Whedon on Justice League, and then everybody was like, "Fuck, man, we love Zack Snyder.
Right.
Why'd they switch him?" But you guys were all hating on him before. I hated on him the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like his movies. Like 300's great. He's got some good ones, but to me, he's got more misses than hits.
Well, and Man of Steel sparked, his kind of DC universe, and so no, I'm excited. I'm excited to watch it and then talk about the things in this film, and then maybe more, universally Zack Snyder. But it's on Max, so we'll watch it there. Jeff, tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, I've got 2 other podcasts you can check out. One's called Chronologically, where we go through full filmographies of directors and creators in Hollywood. We're currently on our Tarantino season, so check that out. You can also check out All Things Being Sequel, where I think the latest episode just dropped, starting our 2nd season, covering the It's Alive films, which you've probably never heard of. So good way to educate yourself on a movie that you'll probably never sit down and watch.
And if you are watching on the YouTube, hit the subscribe button when it pops up so you don't miss any future content right here on the channel. And if you want to follow
have you ever seen LA Confidential?
I have seen LA Confidential.
Okay, never mind then.
Okay. If you want to follow the podcast on all your favorite social media platforms, we're at Movie Draft House. You can find us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, right here on YouTube. So give us a like, follow, subscribe. Jeff, any final words?
Always bet on black. That's Passenger 57. We're going to watch that sometime. I'm going to make it happen.